All right, here I've got a sound, again, started from the init patch with two things blended here, and I'm choosing this oscillator mode for the additional oscillator slot here. And I have this set to ratio. And I want to modulate that with LFOs. We're going to look at that in this video, but let's set up some filter modulation a little bit first with the modulation envelope, and we're going to look at the amp envelope as well to add some release to the sound. So let's start by putting this into the automation mode. So a nice little fade in on that cutoff, and that sounds nice. So here, what I want to do is add some release to the sound because it's a bit kind of abrupt when the notes end. So I'm going to dial up the release and also slow the attack down so I can get a bit of a fade in on each new chord. So that's great. We get a little fade in and then it ramps up and stays at the full volume. I could have it decay to a slightly lower sustain level as well. And that works great. I'm just going to raise that a little bit. And then we can increase the decay time so it ramps down a bit slower. Again, a bit slower. That. So a nice little subtle swell down. Now I'm going to go into the LFO mode. So here, we're already in the edit mode here. I'm going to take it out of that. I'm going to start by assigning this to modulate the ratio so we can really hear what it does. Now we have different shapes. We have LFO, which is low frequency oscillator. It means it'll modulate the destination based on this repeating cyclical form at the speed that we set here. So I'm going to just click here and maybe choose random so we can get something interesting, some interesting movement. And I'm going to go here and assign this like that. And it's bipolar, so it'll go both above and below. And then we'll sync it to tempo. And I'll take that out of edit mode with that musical note icon and maybe set it to eighth notes. So it's almost like a sample and hold type of effect. Now I can also use a more traditional shape. And we can maybe dial the mix as well. Now this is a re-trigger button that allows the LFO to get re-triggered each time a new note is hit, and that's great for sustained notes that happen more quickly than the rate knob. I'm going to increase the release here. So that's one potential idea, and we can change the shape here. And we can adjust the depth here for a subtler effect. Now the two LFOs act the same, but I can use this one maybe with a different setting and modulate something else with it, like perhaps the resonance over here. I'm going to dial this up. So we're getting that nice swell. And again, I'll sync this to tempo, and maybe we'll set this one slower. Something like dotted quarters should be fine. And I can adjust this as well. Just to give you an idea of some of the things that are possible. Now we can also optionally set this to act as a fade-in knob to fade the LFO in. And that'll have it ramp up a bit more slowly. You really hear it on the filter. And I'll lower the depth. So you can really get some nice subtle movement. And the rates still stay. Now here's another scenario for the second LFO. I've got the first one set to modulate the cutoff and the ratio and the mix here at a pretty extreme setting. And I've got it set to 16th notes over here, and it sounds like this. I just want to illustrate how this can be now used, the second LFO, to modulate the depth of the first one. So it can generate, instead of the steady 16th note rhythm, some interesting kind of rhythmic permutations. This is set slower to a dotted quarter. And I can adjust this rate. So a lot of interesting possibilities. We can even use this to modulate the rate here. Very interesting. I can go with a shallower depth. A lot of creative possibilities. We'll continue with more in the next video.